This might be what you call skinship, but did you know that in English, we do not have this word skinship? So today we're going to be dissecting the meaning of skinship.
All right.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Give Me a Hug and Kiss kind of episode. We're the hosts. My name is MJ.
My name is Adam.
And thanks for coming back to improve your English listening skills, your English mindset, everything when it comes to English, because it is not just going and learning about this is a pen, I'm fine, and you kind of phrases, because those things are just not the natural way people use English. And if you want to know a natural way to do it, you got to immerse yourself in the language and in the culture as well. So that's something you can do right here on this channel. If you like to subscribe. Today, we're going to be talking about skinship. Recently, Adam, I talked about this skinship idea to some Western friends of mine, an American and a Canadian.
All right.
And right away, they were like,
What's that?
what is that, like a verb? Like to skinship somebody? Like,
Is
what is that?
A boat made of skin?
Because if you think about it, right, like skin, okay,
Yeah.
hada,
Hada.
and then skinship. Well, we know about friendship, right?
Relationship.
Okay, a relationship.
Yeah.
There's a bond, there's a connection there. But skinship, it's like, what exactly does that entail?
Right.
Why is it focused on the skin? So if people don't know, Adam, how would you say this in English?
Physical touch or something to do with physical.
Right.
Yeah.
Being physical.
Being physical.
So these things
Yeah.
are like
Being physical.
hugging,
Hugging. Yeah.
high-fiving.
Yeah. Handshakes, maybe.
Many different types of handshakes,
Yeah.
pounds, or whatever you're going to do,
Dabs.
elbows, dabs.
Secret handshakes, friendship handshakes.
Right. Of course, kisses as well. And now everyone, we're focusing more on the friendship side of things. So, I feel like when we're talking about kisses, hugs, that you could think about a relationship.
Yeah.
A couple, a romantic relationship. But for skinship, I feel like it's more focused, at least in Japanese, focusing on your friends, getting connected, physical contact with your close friends or possibly family members. There is connections to some relationships as well.
Right.
But it's interesting that there is a word for this, because you think like, why do we have to have a conversation where create a word that talks about just physical contact,
physical contact,
with someone, where it seems that it's like not taboo, but it's kind of in a distant realm. Like we don't do, like in Japan, we don't do this so often.
Right.
So, but some people do. So we need to make a word for it. This is skinship. Another strange one, of course, is, nekojita, like cat tongue. It's like, what? Why is there a word for that? And people will ask, hey, MJ, how do you say that in English? I'm like, we don't even say anything.
No,
I just say,
I burned my
ooh,
mouth.
that's hot. Like, oh yeah, you burn your mouth. That's it. So it comes into like a very interesting topic about not just what this is, physical contact, but the culture, the deep historic culture of Japan and Western cultures. Specifically, again, me being from America, Adam from Canada, and how we've grown up. So let's talk about some of the things, Adam, this skinship, this physical contact that we've experienced while we were growing up in our countries.
We share our feelings for each other physically, hugging, kissing on the cheek, whatever. And it's a normal thing for your mother to give you a hug, or your father to, kiss you on the forehead, or, sisters and brothers to hug each other. It's nothing weird or awkward until you become older, and then it's in front of your friends. And then it's awkward, but it's there. And friends understand that. Like, that's how we show our feelings for other people. Not like romantic feelings, but just like love. It's, you hug your friends, people you care about. You hug them, you shake their hand, you hold hands, you kiss them, even for just friends. Some of my friends, not guys, but girls, would hold each other's shoulders, like arm in arm, and walk. In high school, we would walk hand in hand. Not guys mostly, but girls would walk hand in
Okay, okay,
hand.
yeah.
Guys would put their arm around their friend's shoulder and walk to class, and just
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that, showing like you care about your friends or your family members.
Hmm.
And it's
Yep.
normal. It's not weird.
I feel like that's exactly, what skinship
Right.
is. It's specifically talking about this type of physical
Yeah,
contact
contact.
that happens because of this close friendship that you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
with somebody, this close relationship that you have. Now, for me, in my case, my parents are both from other countries. They are not originally from America. I am firstborn in the US. And there's a lot of people in that same situation where their parents are from a different country and parents moved to America or Canada. So that's how I grew up. I guess my mind is, American. But at the same time, there's strong influence from these different cultures that your parents grew up with in their countries, right?
Right.
There's a lot more physical contact, I feel, with other countries outside of the US.
Yeah.
Especially like with mothers, grandparents, other relatives, cousins, uncles. So I have a European side of the family that is living in the US. And whenever we see each other, all my cousins, all my uncles, men, women, doesn't matter, hugs and kisses.
Right.
That's how greetings happen in that culture. And we continue to do that. So for me growing up, of course, like you mentioned, Adam, if we're young kids and anyone who has a baby or a child, you're still kissing them on the cheek and you're still hugging and cuddling with them because you love them so much. And of course, that's natural. Even in Japan, you'll see that. But as they get older, it kind of changes. But if you're like us, where you have this custom, this culture from another country where, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
This type of physical contact, skinship, is something that continues on with friends and with family members.
Right.
Now, Adam, can you put your finger on why this is an important thing in maybe these cultures to be more physical?
I always just thought it was how to express your emotion for one person to another. It's one thing to say, I love you, or like, I really appreciate you, but it's another thing to feel like a person grab you in a hug and like almost suffocate you because they want to show how much they care about you so much by squeezing you. That's what I thought it was. And that's the reason why I feel like we share our emotions by showing, not just by saying a lot of the time, but to show we like that physical embrace is important.
How was it when you came to Japan?
I guess my situation is a little bit different. And I was thinking about this when we were talking about the topic, but I was dancing a lot when I was in Japan. In that dance community, it seemed like all of the dancers were open, more free in that sense. Like friends would they wouldn't kiss, but they would hug each other. Like, we'd dance together and at the end, everyone says, goodbye, hug, something like that. But outside of the dance circle, it was more no handshakes. It's kind of like one of those ojigis, kubijigis. Yeah. No contact really. You couldn't really tell if a person is like your close friend or a distant friend or acquaintance. I'm sure for Japanese people who grew up with their friends, like they know because of the time they spent with each other. But for a Westerner, it might be difficult to see like what is your level of friendship specifically. Because you don't really know the person for a long time, but you feel like you're close to them, but they're reserved. They don't hug you if you want to shake hands or, give them a high five or something like that. It's a different kind of receival of that feeling.
Yeah.
It's not a touch connection. It's like
not physical, right?
made it so
Antenna type of or like bugs.
transmission, IR sushi,
I mean, maybe, telepathy, kind of
Telepathy.
understanding, kind of this reading the room, kind of this kukyo-yomu kind of situation, which is a big part of the Japanese language, right?
Yes.
So maybe there is that kind of sense.
Right.
Now, I've heard from Japanese people that, in American movies and TV shows, we always see couples saying like, "Oh, I love you, I love you," and stuff to people that they're in romantic relationships with. And they're like, "I don't have to tell my partner, husband, wife, I don't have to say that to them. We're married."
Yeah.
Like they just, of course I love them.
Right.
We're married. We're in a relationship. I don't have to say it out loud. That was like, I'm like, I guess I understand that idea.
Yeah.
But at the same time, do they really know? And I feel like this is one kind of conversation that is being more talked about in Western cultures of like speaking your mind because you never know what the other person is really thinking.
Right.
So it is important, we feel, and we teach our kids and people in the society to tell them how much they mean to you.
Yeah.
This can be done, of course, with physical touch, which we've been doing for a long time.
Right.
But nowadays, it's even more by like, hey, let that person know, like, hey, love you. Like, oh, our friendship means a lot.
Yeah.
Like, love you, man.
I really
Adam, love you,
appreciate
dude.
you.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
They love you.
yeah. It's not a relationship type of thing, but it's just to show appreciation,
Right.
which maybe in Japanese culture and relationships and the language, you don't really need to talk about it because of
But I wonder though. I really like it's one of those things where I wonder about it. Although it is not common in Japanese culture, I feel like we human beings are social creatures. Probably it's like psychologically something that we need to survive as like a species. Maybe it's not really in Japanese culture, but I feel like maybe it's something that's missing because there are a lot of relationships. Even thinking back to when I was in Japan and seeing news reports about how the physical contact between spouses, husband and wife, has been limited for so long. The wife is just like in robot mode and the husband is just like in robot mode that they don't even know if they
It's more
love each other
passive.
anymore.
Yeah.
And to get back into this love mode of like, I really appreciate you. I want to show you. I want to tell you, but we don't have any contact anymore. So I don't know. There was a newspaper that made a sheet with 2 footprints. And it says on the paper, stand on the footprint for like 3 seconds or a minute or something, facing your partner and giving them a hug for 1 minute.
Where was this newspaper?
I can't remember.
Japan?
This was in Japan. I know it's not part of the culture. It's something that the culture desires, I feel.
People
People
want
desire.
it.
Like you don't think you want it, but if you have it, "Attara ina," like people will say that. Like even if it's just for 1 minute or like
Yeah,
30
yeah.
seconds to know that the person who you feel so deeply and care about like feels the same way just for like 1 second. It might make yourself feel a little relaxed about life.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
in your mind, in the deep parts of the brain where we don't understand, like it gives you a release of brain
Yes.
chemicals that gives
Yes.
you
Yes.
happiness.
Yes.
That's what I'm going at. Like it gives you happiness without having to do anything.
Right. Without words,
Without
without guessing if
guessing.
the person how much they love you and
Yeah.
stuff or appreciate you. The
Right.
physical touch is something that is big with a relationship that's
Right.
romantic or if
Or
it's just a
just
friendship
friendship.
or family.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that I thought up and came up with. In Japan,
Okay.
public displays of affection, hugging, kissing, relationship couples on the street is frowned upon. People do not like it for
Yeah.
the most part. When everyone's younger in Japan, you can see a lot more of this skinship happening
Yeah.
with family members, as well as with friends.
Yes. Yeah.
There's plenty of middle school, high school kids that you see groups of like dudes just like,
Hang
arms around each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. All, close friends will do this and it's common. But as you get older, it kind of separates.
Right.
But there's one thing that goes beyond skinship, I feel personally, that crosses the path of just being physical that possibly makes this situation of not having physical contact so important. And that is the Sento.
Oh.
Going to the bathhouse
Yeah.
and getting buck naked
Buck Wizzy.
with your friends, with your family members,
Yeah.
with strangers.
Yeah.
It's not okay to handshake.
No,
It's
you don't
it's
wanna
okay,
do
of
it,
course.
it's okay.
It's not okay to give hugs
Yeah.
and kisses on the cheek to friends,
Right.
but hey, it's totally okay to see them completely naked,
Uh-huh.
and it's okay for you to be naked, looking at each other naked. For me,
Yeah.
that goes beyond a hug and a kiss on the cheek.
That's true.
That is so personal.
Yeah.
To be naked.
In front of
Everything's
somebody,
out.
yeah. You're just most vulnerable you can be.
It's vulnerable. All
Dog
you have to
laying
do
on
is turn
his
off
back.
the lights and it's no way. There's no turning back into vulnerability.
Yeah.
So
Belly up.
I kind of feel that this might be the big difference that the culture has for such a long time. It has so much
True.
history, going to onsen and sentos, that it creates that community. Like long time ago, right after like World War II and stuff, 40s, the 50s, sentos were normal. Even before that too, a communal bathhouse where people get to know on each another
Right, in your community.
by going to the bath.
Right.
And that's where you talk and that's where you learn. That's where you connect with people. We don't have to touch each other. Just let me see you completely naked.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I need. That's all I'm asking for. Don't tell me you like me.
So let us know in the comments, everybody. What do you think about this topic of skinship? Are you someone who would rather hug a friend of yours or hug your family members? Or are you totally fine just going to the onsen and getting naked? And that's enough as a close relationship that you can make with them.
Nice. Yep, but that's it. We'll see you
On the next step.
Yeah.